Welcome in, everybody. You know where we're at. This is the final judgment right here. Tony Jigsaw Cutillo. As always, powered by Heat Ratio Sports, Win Daily Sports, and brought to you always by SEObrand.com, the place where all analytics begin. Man, this is a tough one. This may be tougher than last night. Okay, I'll be honest with you. This may be tougher than last night. The ugly heads of every single issue that we saw through the entire season just came off and veered its way into our TV screen tonight. And again, listen, these are the things we were always worried about, right? These are the things we were always worried about. My God. Oh, I think it was 0 for 23 with runners in scoring position. I mean, my God. Like, again, I have obviously, again, there's a lot of negatives, but I do have some positives, and we'll get to both of them as well. But, Eagles ain't no, thank God, right? But we're talking Phillies right here, man. I mean, Leonard checking in says the Phillies are stranding more players than Delta. And actually, right now, you're right. Leonard, you're right, because airlines can't even get shit correct, and obviously the Phillies can't get nothing correct either. So you are right with that one. And here's our resident Astros fan checking in, Mr. Willis. Are you worried yet? Listen, I was worried yesterday. Okay, I had concerns. So it's nothing different, man. Nothing has changed. Our man Ronnie said no excuses, getting beat straight up. We did. Listen, a couple bounces of the ball, the Mancini ball, the McCormick play. I mean, you got to throw your hats off. They did hit the ball. But again, this game, in my opinion, and I don't like to say, throw anybody under the bus. Okay. But you guys know 100% that I am not a Rhys Hoskins fan. And Rhys killed you tonight in multiple ways. Bryce Harper was on base multiple times and you couldn't get him in. Okay. And again, I know Rhys bats before him, but what I'm saying is, as collectively as a whole, the offense definitely sputtered. Again, the opportunities were not there. that at bat with Rhys Hoskins with 2 outs with the bases loaded, in my opinion, it was 100% the game right there. And everything else didn't matter to me. That was right at that moment I said, my God, there was the opportunity that we needed and we wanted. And again, it goes down. Adam says he brings it up. Hoskins killed us again with the bases loaded. Javon, so sad, Tony. This series is done. I'm mentally drained. I'll tell you, man, I really am. Javon, I hate to be that guy to say series is over, and I still want to believe. I really do, because this year has been so ridiculously crazy with so many different things that have happened on so many different levels that it's hard for me to just throw in the towel. But mentally, I am so goddamn drained because this game. This game took it because you were just waiting and waiting for the moment and the next moment and what would happen. And just it never came. Listen, we talked about this. We talked about Thor. Okay. We talked about him. And he was, listen, he was fantastic. I don't care about the one. Everybody's going to harp on the home run, the Pena. I don't even care about that. Right now, 100%. He did his job. The bullpen did their job. And can I get a little bit of credit here? Okay. And because I've been getting killed, not right here on the stream, but on Twitter. And I know I shouldn't worry about Twitter, but people just don't understand the game enough. Hats off to Connor Brogdon. And again, this was what I brought up 3 weeks ago about Connor Brogdon being in these pressure situations and Rob Thompson actually doing what they need to give him confidence. And I said that Brogdon would be one of the most important pieces in the World Series in our bullpen. And he showed it tonight. Okay. He showed it tonight. Like, that's one of the positives come away from this game. Okay, because now, unfortunately, we have to start thinking. You could say whatever we want, okay, but it's going to be really hard to win 2 games in Houston. It really is. No, listen, Ronnie, I agree, man. I'm not saying it's over yet, but I'm saying it's hard to envision. It's hard to envision that we're going to go into Houston against those 2 dogs out there in Framber and my man Javier and still say that we're going to be able to automatically flip a switch and take 2 games in Houston. It's tough. This was a must win to me. This was a must win, and it just didn't happen. Rich says Hoskins is a butcher at first base. I'm telling you, man, that is again another little league play that has to be made. It's a little league play that has to be made. That's why he should not be a first, but they don't have any choice. That's what happened when Bryce Harper got injured. They had no choice. The DH was thrown out because now Rhys Hoskins has to play the field. Listen, I'm going to tell you one thing. For all the people that talk about, I will talk about next year a little bit, okay? For all the people that talk about guys like Trey Turner and guys like Xander Bogaerts, okay? They're guys, they say, well, what about Stott? What about Bone? Well, guess what? Make Bone my first baseman if I have to, okay? If I got to get Bogaerts. And whatever it's got to take, I don't care. Even though Bone played tremendous tonight at third base, tremendous play at the end to get us to that point. Shorty checking in. Says my mom was so pissed about the missed opportunities at last catch. Geez, I went from let's go to I'm gonna throw up. That could be the comment of the night, Jordy. I swear to God, because that's exactly how we all felt. That's probably how 46,000 fans felt in that stadium. And again, unfortunately, I say this all the time. Your baseball gods speak. The baseball gods speak. Unfortunately, tonight they spoke for the friggin' Astros. It's just as simple as that. The gods speak, and you know it. You can see things the way they plan out, and that's what was happening. Like the goddamn baseball gods again. They had us again, but they had us on the wrong end, and it absolutely is demoralizing. It really is. Marsh's 3 Ks and an error. Yeah, Rich, it's odd because he's such a fantastic center fielder, and he never misjudges balls, and he really got flat-footed out there on that play, and Listen, again, I know Smoltz was trying to make up for it and give, but it was a bad play. It was just a bad play. All around, it was a bad play. Harry checking in. What's up, Harry? Says too many glaring weaknesses. And again, You're right. Again, we knew this, and let's not forget. I'm going to say this again. This team was built to score runs and to bash the ball. And if they can't bash the ball, they weren't going to win games. In 2008, that team was built to bash the baseball. They had one guy in the starting rotation that could rely on, and that was Cole Hamels, who went up being the MVP in that championship series. Okay. And the reason why is because they had guys that mashed the baseball, and we need to win games by mashing the baseball. And you see it when they don't mash the baseball again, they don't produce and they don't win. And it's as simple as that, man. Simple as that. Ronnie says it's not over. They can still do. Listen, again, I get it. I'm not throwing in the towel. I'm just saying it's hard. If they do it, it will be fantastic. I'm just saying that it is very, very hard. And this, in my opinion, because of that difficulty, was a must win. Rich says also Thompson with 1 out and Stott on third and Marsh up. Why not bunt to get the game tied? But he strikes out instead. You know what? Here's what I will say about this, Rich. If it was no outs, yes. But 1 out, I can't do it. I can't concede, right? I can't concede an out, right? In a simple fact, I can't risk it. I honestly, I think that you could do that with 2 outs, but I can't see conceding that out. I really can't. For me, personally, I think, in my opinion, okay, I think that was the right call. And Marsh just didn't get it done, man. He honestly just didn't get it done. Pitching got the job done. This offense, 17 innings, 1 run. Sums it up right there. Christian Javier, man, we're going to have to face him now. Okay, we're going to have to get over that hump. That's me. If we get past my man Fromber, right? Excuse me, 2 games and win, that is almost impossible. It is almost, man. It's almost. Don't let me get started. Javon says on a Hoskins, need a new first baseman. I think we all agree on that. I think we could go around that all night. We know right now that Rhys Hoskins is not a first baseman. He is going to cost us more games than not, right? Javier is the guy that scares me about winning the next 2. Yeah, listen, you're going to have to face him in game 7. Right? You get past game 6, you're going to have to face them in game 7. You really are. It's as simple as that. And I will say this. And let me say this. And this is for everybody checking in that is a Houston Astros fan, because I don't discriminate when it comes to fans. Okay, I really don't. I enjoy the back and forth. Unless you want to be an asshole, then it's different. But if you want to go back and forth, we're all good. Okay, I will say this. I listened to Justin Verlander as much as I didn't want to listen to him. I listened to Jeremy Pena as much as I didn't want to listen to them. And I'm going to tell you right now, the only thing they did is give respect to the Philadelphia Phillies. So I will say this again. As much as they're very cringeworthy right now, okay, because we're not winning, okay, and that's just us being, hating the fact that that's not us, which I understand completely. What I will say is they've been very, very, very professional, okay, for the most part. I know Bregman made some comments earlier. I know Tucker made a few comments earlier. When I'm talking about a guy who's a Hall of Famer in Justin Verlander, and I'm talking about a rookie. Okay, a rookie in Jeremy Pena that's already saying the right thing. So I will say that. I have to tip my hat to them. I don't want to tip my Art History 101 hat. But again, you know why I'm saying that. Adam says they will win Saturday to force game 7. Listen, I said 6 or 7. Now it's going to have to go 7. Right now, it's going to have to go 7. Rich says how Hoskins is going. You're probably right, because the money that he's going to command is going to be interesting. It's probably why his wife is buying everybody all those beers, because she probably knows the last ditch effort that she probably won't be here next year. Javon says, I take Darrell Hall, and I think that could be the plan, Javon. I completely agree. I'm willing to work on that. I mean, listen, Ryan Howard wasn't a great defensive first baseman, but I will give the big piece a lot of credit, because he worked his ass off in order to get his efficiency rating up and not be able to cost us games. And he did play a very serviceable first base, okay? So that's something that Rhys Hoskins will never do, and that's actually going to be a problem. Riding says, I'm actually glad the Padres lost now. So funny, man. You cracked me up. Adam says he got lucky to make that catch. I'll tell you what, I don't think he did. I don't think he did. Listen, luck to me is sticking your glove up and just saying, oh shit, I caught the ball. He timed the jump perfectly and he ran the precise route, okay, in a ballpark that he doesn't play in. So I got to tip my hat. And it's obviously a storybook ending because of McCormick being from the area, right? And growing up as a Phillies fan. But what I will tell you is, Adam, I honestly disagree. I don't think that was luck. I think it was a tremendous catch. My man Al checking in says, shake my head. Houston made plays on offense and defense. We didn't play, plain and simple. Absolutely right. I mean, that's exactly where we're at. Ryan says, I don't deal with stress very well. I'm a disabled veteran from Iraq with PTSD, and I get stressed out very easily. Well, Roddy, let me tell you, you can always come vent to us, man. Let that stress go no matter what. If we're mad, if we're happy, we're all family here. We're all together. So if you ever need an ear, man, you want to throw some comments in there, I can tell you right now that whether it be me, I know Rich is always active, Al's always active, people are always active, man. We're always here to type back and forth and help each other out. And don't let this team get you that stressed, for sure. Shorty says, for sure, a must win, and it was mentally exhausting. And it does feel like you're going to have to push 500 pounds up a dry hill. But hey, Philly fans are used to that, right? Another great comment by Shorty saying 100%, man. This is going to feel like something that we absolutely can't do and be impossible. So, but you just never know. It's how we live, right? It's how we live in Philadelphia. Rodney says the Astros are doing to the Phillies what the Phillies did to the Padres, and they're seeing tonight's game. You're honestly right. The tides have turned a little bit, right? The tides have definitely turned a little bit, and we're getting a taste of that medicine. Willis says, my boy from Westchester saved that game. You're right. You're right. Listen, McCormick saved the game, and I got to tip my hat to him, man. 100%. 100% saved that game. A tremendous play. I honestly thought when JT hit that ball, I thought it was a home run. It had that crack. It was going to the opposite field, which he's very known to do. Smoltz made a lot of commentary about it, and I thought it was it. I thought it was there. It was a perfect hit. Game was tied. I thought it was it, man. I did. I thought it was a home run, but again, didn't happen. Didn't happen. Shorty says, y'all grit and toughness is what I love about y'all fan base. She knows. She knows how Philly rolls. She's been listening to me enough. Okay. And shout out Miles Sanders again for, I told, we were going back and forth, me and Shorty talking about showdown line. So shout out again to Shorty for saying and sticking with us and knowing that this was going to be a Miles Sanders must play. Thomas checking in says, good game, man. I have my Astros taking it tomorrow night, but obviously we just can't walk over y'all. Tough lineup. Our bullpen is just on another planet. And I will listen. This is why I love this stuff, man. Thomas, man, great to have you on again. And you're right. You're right. You've been on this in 7 games. You were saying this from you when the point that you found this channel and found these post games. You told me right off the bat this was going to be 7 games. You're saying I said 6, you said 7. You're right on point, man. You're right on point. But we have a huge battle ahead of us, especially in Game 6. 100%. Ronnie Agree says it's going 7 games. Thomas says, hey, it's what I'm thinking, but we have to see what happens tomorrow. Anything can happen, right? Anything can happen. Willis says McCormick was a scrub. He was $1,000 signing for PA, and he robbed Philly fans of a victory. Well, it's surreal, man. It's surreal. Those things 100% happen. Who could have, for him, for Chaz, I mean, who could have wrote a better story, right? A better story. Rich says they had Verlander on a roast 2 times and let him off the hook. You're right. I'm telling you, Rich, it was RISP, not RESPECT, rest in peace, Aretha Franklin. This was literally RISP. Runners in scoring position that were a detriment to this team. They were a detriment to this team all year. Okay, let's be honest. That was a detriment to this team all year. And it was something again that we talked about that unfortunately it could happen. Javon talked about last night. He said, hopefully the silence of the bats don't go on. You have Schwarber leads off with a home run. You think we have the momentum, everything shifts, but again, everything falls silent. Everything falls silent. Ryan Mast, 40 to 50 home runs, even if he did have an error. That's a good point. So, honestly, yeah, that is a very, very good point. So Ryan at least made up for it more times than not. Obviously, Reese had his moments in the World Series. I get it. But at the same time, man, you have to make that play. Ryan's a good catch and most unfortunate. Absolutely. Will, so we swept the damn Yankees. Come on. Yo, listen. I'm not giving you, I'm not sitting here and giving you any saying I'm not giving you props, man. See, you're not listening to me. I don't know when you hopped on, but I laid a huge respect to the Houston Astros, especially to Jeremy Pena and Justin Verlander, from the way they maturely handled their post-game interviews. Well, I should say not during the game interviews, live interviews during the game. Post-game was Pena by saying about how Philly is a great team. Okay, not being cocky and overly confident. So listen, I'm learning to like some of these Astros as much as people might not like that. I'm learning to like it. Okay, Rich says, I'm always here for supporting our vets. We got you. Absolutely. Here we go. Here we go. Even though, and again, you're absolutely right. Even though my Astros are up 3-2, these are the comments that I love because there's no criticism here. They're 100% realistic. Even though my Astros are up 3-2, we learned a lesson from 2019. It's not over until it's over. Absolutely. Either way, it's not. You obviously had the edge. Okay, you've had the edge 100%. And again, you're pitching. And your bullpen, like Tom said, the bullpen right now for you guys is on another level. It really is. It is something that really is unfortunately fun to watch, but not fun when you're on the other side, right? Like we are. By the way, Eagles are a legit Super Bowl contender. I appreciate that. Again, we played a shitty game tonight against your Texans, and we still came away with the win. And we still are 8-0, and we still haven't played our best football. We still have not played our best football yet, and we're sitting here talking about that we're a legit Super Bowl contender. So that's a huge deal for us. And again, if you're just finding this channel, if this is the first time you're watching these post-game shows, please, by all means, I don't care if you're a Houston Astros fan. I don't care if you're a New York Yankees fan. Obviously, these are the post-games, but if you subscribe and you hit that notification bell and you hit that like button, I promise you that you will be very, very I'm not going to say impressed. I don't mean it that way, but you'll enjoy the content that we have on this channel. I can tell you that right now. We talk all things, and I love talking different sports nationally and locally. Right now, it is the World Series, and I'm a Philly guy, so we have to talk about what's at hand. Rich says Zach Wheeler needs to have his unhittable stuff in Game 6. Zach Wheeler needs to go out there and just ball. Okay, he needs to be Doc Holliday. He needs to be Doc Holliday. And I know that's a big deal, okay? I know it's a big deal, but he needs to be Doc Holliday. That's how good he needs to be. 100%. Again, 100%. He has to be. Has to be. Right? I mean, let me get to some of these tweets because some of them are really good. Let me see. We had, because I don't want to forget these because I like to read these. Okay. Again, this is why he needs to be Doc Holliday, right? Again, because we talk about, here we go. Corey Simon, great Corey Simon. The Phillies tonight, they have stranded 9 runners. They're 0-4 runners in scoring position and 1-9 with men on base. I mean, that just kind of sums it up. That just kind of sums it up right now. Okay. Leonard checking in says, can we get a DH for Castellanos? Again, remember, I keep saying this, I have to listen. Can I say something? Because I want to see if people agree with me. And they're probably not going to, because I know everybody's going to be pissed off at Nick because he ended the game. Everybody's going to be pissed off at Nick because he couldn't get somebody home. Okay. But what I will tell you is Nick is a very smart baseball player. Okay. I think if you understand the game and you realize, you'll know that not that last at bat, the bat before, when he walked, when nobody could believe that he walked, guess what? He went up there specifically to walk. You know why? Because Nick knows that he's not producing right now. And he knew the best way for him to help this team was to be able to get on base by all means necessary. And that means doing everything against his will by not swinging some of those bad pitches and getting on first base. That to me was a tremendous at bat, and could have been the difference of that game if they won. I'm going to be honest with you. So I'm still riding with Nick. I don't care what anybody says. I'm still riding with Nick. Riding says the only thing that leaves a sour taste in my mouth is that the Astros have been caught cheating. Do we know they're not cheating again? Again, that's something that's always going to have to be, written out with the Houston Astros. And again, honestly, I highly doubt it. Again, really, to be honest with you, and again, it's something that they have to eat, though, because it's something that's always going to be brought up, and they have nobody to blame but themselves, right? Highly unlikely, but just a thought. I agree. It's always going to be a thought. Harry says the Astros have everything the Phillies don't, top to bottom. And you know what, Harry? It's exactly what I thought, man. Exactly what we were talking about. There's a reason why this team. There's a reason why this team won 106 games. Okay. There's a reason why they won 106 games. There's a reason why they were labeled as the best team going into the postseason, because top to bottom, they were unstoppable. Pitching staff, bench, starting lineup, bullpen, everything they had. So we already knew this was going to be uphill battle, and now they're clicking on all cylinders. And still, guess what? They're clicking on all cylinders, and they still don't have their big man in their lineup, Mr. Alvarez, actually popping off like he should. And that's the scary part. Thomas says, that was 5 years ago, and only 2 players on that team remain on ours. You all have a great team, and so do we. That's a good point. That's a good point, right? I mean, we're looking at Altuve, Correa's gone, Springer's gone. You're looking at Altuve, and again, I have a lot of different thoughts that Philly fans probably won't agree with, because I don't think it's a bit as of a big deal as everybody thinks it is. People cheat in Little League, people cheat in the Peanut League, people cheat in the minors. There's levels of cheating, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Either all cheating is not good, or none of it is good, or all of it's okay. It's one or the other. We can't have levels of cheating. You can't say this is okay, but that's not okay, right? So that's discussed for another day. I'll get on a huge tangent. We'll bring up the roid era. We will have a show on the steroid era after the World Series, because it's a hot topic. We're going to hit on top pitchers. We're going to hit on a lot of different topics coming up after this World Series. I just wanted to get these post games in because it is the hot thing right now. Al says, one thing I do know is we are not going down without a fight. Listen, man, you don't have a fictitious figure and legend in Rocky Balboa and go down easily, right? I mean, we have a fake character that we lay our fame to, right? Legendary, right? Legendary, okay? And he's fake in Rocky Balboa. So that just means we will never go down without a fight. No way, no how. 100%. Javon says the Yankees were a walking strikeout every game, but streaking the Yankees isn't that special based on how they played in the second half. That is a good point. The Yankees were extremely underwhelming. Extremely underwhelming in the second half. 100%. Willis says, it ain't going to go 7 games. Take it to the bank. You know what? You could be right. Well, you could be right. Listen, one or two things is going to happen. The Philadelphia Phillies are going to come out in this game, and they're going to be completely demoralized, okay? And they're just going to kind of give up and just take the L. But again, if you're not from Philly, you don't realize how this team operates. I mean, listen, even when they take an L, they try their ass off. Last night after that game, you had Kyle Schwarber and you had your MVP, well, our MVP and Bryce Harper in the batting cage, in uniform, hitting 500 balls apiece to say there's no way we're going down without a fight. That's the moxie of this team. Okay. And I'm not watching the press conference right now because I'm here with all you, but I'm sure they're probably echoing the same things in those press conferences. So, yes, again, you can say it's going to go 7, but I'm telling you right now, we're not going down without a fight. Noah looked good for a second there, Thomas says, and then I understand why y'all did not want him pitching. You scared me all throughout this game. Listen, Noah did what I wanted him to do. He made one bad pitch, and again, all the people that are giving heat to Rob Thompson for saying he should have took him out in the very beginning. Listen, man, you can't have it both ways. Okay, you can't, right? Rob said, I'm going to ride. Okay, I'm going to ride Thor for another inning because he was actually pitching well. Okay, who would thought that Thor was going to strike out 4? If you did, I better see all your winning tickets for that over 2.5K prop that was on DraftKings at plus 135. I haven't seen many, which means there wasn't a lot of people that were sitting there and say, we know Thor's going to do well. Okay, I know I talked about it. I know Javon talked about it. I know Rich talked about it. We all talked about him being able to take that energy that he felt inside the fan, basically the fandom inside Bedlam at the bank at Citizens Bank Park, and be able to take up his fastball a couple notches. Now, he only went 94 to 96, but, again, it was still enough. His curveball looked really, really good. So it was still enough for him to make the pitches and to get through those innings clean until the end, obviously. Rich says, hey, Astros have done what they need to do to be up 3-2 in the series. 100%. 100%. There you go. I like this. Riding says, you can call me Greg. I just ride in Humboldt County. God's country. I love that. I will tell you this, Greg. I like this now because now I got your name and I don't have to call you Riding. I don't sound like a moron, right? But no, seriously, when I was watching your YouTube videos on the bike, I had flashbacks to SOA and Jax Teller. Just throwing it out there. And if people don't know who Jax Teller is, Sons of Anarchy, one of the best miniseries of all time. If you haven't never watched it, obviously it's over now, but go get yourself on-demand package and go check it out. You will not be disappointed. Al says, that was a fantastic catch. That team is everything I thought they were. Absolutely. Absolutely, man. We knew this was not going to be easy. Brian Abreu was an unbelievable. I'll tell you what. Thomas, you're 100% right. I knew nothing about Abreu. Nothing. And I'll tell you what, he was not only does he command a presence on the mound and he's very intimidating, his stuff is electric. Man, you guys have a tremendous bullpen, man. You do. I mean, I love Alvarado. I love Dominguez. I cringe when I see Robertson in there, right? I do. I cringe when I see him in there. But I like our 2 guys, but you have 3 or 4 guys, no disrespect, but you can keep Hector Neris, man. I want nothing to do with Hector Neris. But Abreu is nasty, man. He is nasty. So you guys had a gem right there. Javon says, I'm nervous about Wheeler in game 6. Don't know what he has left in the tank. If he can give them 5 innings, that works. Yeah, I'm with you. I am. We brought this up last show and we talked about Phil Hughes. I gave you my Phil Hughes story about dead arm and fatigue. And again, it's what's setting in. And I always say this one cliche statement that, there's 2 people in this world that are undefeated, and that's Mother Nature and Father Time. And I say that because it's something that you just can't get back. And Father Time, meaning as time goes on, whether it be time from injury, time getting older, whatever it is, you can't go back. He is undefeated, whether it's a he or a she, it doesn't matter. Father Time is undefeated. And at the end of the day, if he's suffering from fatigue, again, that's going to be a problem. And he's really going to have to be masterful with some of those pitches, like a la Greg Maddux, like a Oral Hershiser, when they got late in the game and had to pitch to the black of the plate. Quasm says Astros is 6. I said it yesterday. Elbow cough. It's okay. Listen, Again, you're very confident in your team, and why should you not be? I don't disagree with you. You should be. I just know with the resilience and the fight that this team has shown over this entire postseason, I'm not ready to pack it in. I'm not. I'm not ready to pack it in. I still think there's some magic left, and I think it's enough magic to get us to Game 7, and then we figure out what happens there. Okay, and then I still think with with all due respect to the no hitter and this, the suckiness, I'm going to say that we had to feel inside our stomach because of that no hitter. Okay. What I will say is this has been a fantastic series. It has. It's not been disappointing. My man Jeff checking in. Team kind of has that 0-3 Red Sox vibe where it's like, you better finish us in 6 because if you leave that door open, look out. Great statement. And by the way, my man Jeff Iatarola, if you listen to this show, okay, and you hear the intro, that beat, the Final Judgment song, the song to the show that everybody loves, made none other than my man, the audio assassin himself, Mr. Jeff Iatarola. So if you're watching this show, okay, and you want a podcast or you need any kind of beats that you can take and are not copyrighted, that you can own, man, this is the guy you look up. He will mix it up like none other, and you will have it, and you will love it, and everybody will love it because, man, do I love that Final Judgment beat. My man Jeff checking in. I appreciate Jeff. You hit any bets tonight? Ivan says, boo Eagles. Still rooting for the Phillies to win, even though I'm a Braves fan. See, that's why my man Ivan from Win Daily Sports. As always, like I say, Win Daily Sports, that's where you want to follow us for all your sports betting needs, for all your prop miles, for all your fantasy needs, DFS. We just had another this morning, checking in over $5,000 in winnings, all for $5.99 a week. If you want that, it's code GREEN. Go sign up. You get your first week. And again, that's what we do here on this show. Greg says, me too, Ivan. I'm a Padres fan. That's the thing. Like, it's okay to root for other teams when your team's out. It's a mutual respect, right? Quasm says, good fight by the Phillies. They fall hard as well. It was a close one. Listen, Quasm, I'm going to be honest with you. It is a great series. I'm not going to be one of these haters here, man. I'm not. Like, I'm not going to be a hater. I'm not going to be a troll. Okay. The Houston Astros are a team that deserves to win, just like the Philadelphia Phillies. Both of these teams that had different paths into the playoffs, and I think they both deserve to win. And whatever way it goes, I honestly am good with. I am. Because I think there's tremendous players and tremendous talent on both sides. And I think that the cool thing is, except for guys like Justin Verlander, who knows he's probably on his way out and on his last legs, these teams are going to be highly competitive for the next 2 to 3 years. And I'm sure that we're going to see each other again. Rich says he's got to go 7 to 8 innings, 2 to 3 hits, no runs allowed. I agree. My man Jeff checking in. Listen, Tony Seats. I love when people say Tony C. And I love the caps, Jeff. Hook me up with the caps. I like it. That means you're yelling at me. You're giving me that conviction. You're giving me that fire, man. I love it. That's why we call it Heat Ratio Sports. Make sure you're hitting us with that fire. It says, listen, Tony C, if the Phillies win Game 6, then you go to the Lone Ranger in Game 7 versus Javier. Could be 1-0 game. Nobody beats the one and only Ranger Suarez. And my man Jeff is riding with Ranger. My man, we're going to get a slogan, riding with Ranger, man. He is riding with Ranger. I love it, man. I love that. My man CC from Scotland checking in at 4:35 a.m. Listen to my man checking in. My man CD at 4:35 a.m. across the board says we had chances. We didn't capitalize. We have it all to do. Castellanos is no protection for Harper. I trust Hopper, but a change in the lineup is needed. Listen, Casty didn't have a terrible game, though. He didn't have a terrible game. He hit a ball hard that Pena went up and got. He crushed it, right? He crushed it. Yeah, he still had 2 good at-bats at the end. It sucked that he grounded out. I get it. But again, let's not forget that we wouldn't be here without Nick's glove in right field all year long. But again, I do agree with the protection for Harper because you did see it tonight. I even think Presley was like, I don't care if it's the 9th inning. I'm not afraid to go to Nick. I'm telling you that right now. And, even in a game where he put the tying run on board, he wasn't afraid to go to Nick, and that's a big deal, man. Greg says, got to run Tony. And yes, Suarez has been awesome. My man, Greg, thanks for checking in as always, brother. As always. And just remember, man, we are always here. Good night to you too, sir. Javon says, this offense isn't passing the baton like they were doing throughout this run. They're not, man. They're not. It's not falling down. It's not. I again, and I hate to think, like, sometimes you get that feeling, Javon, and I know you felt it too. Like during that game, you start thinking, did it finally catch up? Like, is it it? Is this it? Did all the cards we had on the table, are all the chips gone now? No more chips left. Like, you start feeling that way, man. You start feeling that way. It's a shame, but it does give you that feeling. Rich says that's the problem with this team. Most of them have no discipline at the plate. It's hard, man. It's hard. Javon says even Hector Neris is a good bullpen arm. You can't make this up. I mean, Hector Neris, man. What are the odds, Javon? Seriously, that he even has a good time out there, or has a good outing out there? It's ridiculous. I think that pissed me off even more. No disrespect to Houston fans, I'm just not a Neris guy. He put us through the ringer so many goddamn times. Al says, "Oh Lord, told you wouldn't change the lineup, and he won't next game. He's loyal to a fault." You know what? Listen, sometimes you say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I get it. Either way, again, the lineup change. Listen, you can go through this entire lineup though. That lineup change wouldn't have meant nothing tonight. Nothing. Okay, just take it collectively. It would have meant nothing. Who were you going to put behind Bryce? How are you changing the lineup around? How are you changing the lineup around? Everyone wants to change the lineup. And here's the thing: everyone wants to change the lineup, but I haven't seen no lineups floating around saying who they're going to flop, where they're going to put them, how's it going to be different. Like, again, please tell me, show me what it's going to be. I'm curious. Greg says the Dodgers won 110 and we mopped them up. Go figure. That's what's crazy. Nobody thought the Dodgers were going down to the Padres. Nobody thought that, man. It was unbelievable. CC says you're giving that Nick credit for taking a walk when he's contributing nothing. I don't disagree, but there is another option to that. Honestly, I think you're selling him short, CC. I'm telling you, you're selling him short. Again, I look at this collectively, that go back. I don't know if you watched the show then, okay? It was one of our very first. You may have came on late, okay? But to the great, and I am going to say great because he does deserve his light acclaim. Tony La Russa, great manager. Again, great baseball guy, no matter what you think about Tony La Russa. I completely think he's a fantastic baseball guy. Hall of Famer by all means, in my opinion. But he said this fantastic statement, okay? And I said it before. I got to give him credit. He says, sometimes you just need the name on the jersey in the lineup, okay? Now, does that mean Nick Castellanos is a Hall of Famer? No, it does not. That does mean that Nick Castellanos is a professional baseball player. And it does mean that Nick Castellanos can get hot at any time. And that does mean that Nick Castellanos can break out at any given time. And also, Nick Castellanos, without Nick Castellanos making some of those catches in right field, a la playing there for a guy that has a UCL tear, Bryce Harper, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. So I'm going to go down on the shit with Nick. I'm ride or die, man. I'm a DMX Rough Riders guy to you die, man. Stop, drop, shut them down, load them up, shop, Rough Riders roll. Well, I'm rough riding with my man Nick. I am going to go down with Nick. I'm sorry. Whether he takes you down with them, it's okay. I'm going to ride. I don't know if it's an Italian thing because we're both Italianos. I don't know. Okay, but I'm going to tell you right now that I am riding with Nick. I think Nick will not let us down. I'm still here. See, guys, my man Greg, check it out. Rich says, look, it happens all around baseball. They have a great team, pitching, hitting, and defense. It's not just, it's not cheating. 22 people and one thumbs up. Smash the like button, boys. Yeah, tell him, Roddy. Tell him, Greg. If you're watching, so hit that smash button. Smash that like button. And again, if you're watching on Facebook, the way you get involved more is go to YouTube. Go to the search page. Okay, type in The Final Judgment. Okay, and you will with an E, Judge. I did that purposely because it is Judge Jigsaw, right? I do lay verdicts down. We do community verdicts. You guys are in this community, okay? We lay these dominant verdicts down. So go check us out. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the like button. Rich says they weren't going to let Harper beat them tonight, or going forward, other players will have to step up and beat them. I completely agree. Noah got the job done. I was happy with his performance. Shot out Noah Syndergaard, 100%. Thor, you deserve to get respected for what you did tonight. Javon says, we said it, Tony. As long as they go 4 to 5 innings for Thor, it was a win. And it was there. Javon, it was there. It was there. Man, we both said it. It was there. 100% it was there, and they just blew the opportunity. Shorty says, for real, I watched Thor for his time with the Angels. That's right. You did. Out on the West Coast. Say he did way better than expected. He did what he was tasked to do. 100%. Listen, you weren't supposed to get 4 strikeouts from Thor either, okay, against this lineup. I'm going to tell you that right now. You were not expecting to get that, and you did. And that is tremendous. Will says, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, man. It's like get rich or die trying, man. Are you trying to bank all 50 Cent's first album? Quasm says, Astros have to fight for the win. It's not going to be easy. Phillies are against the wall, and they will give us a fight in Game 6. I hope it's a nail biter. I do. I hope it's a nail biter too. I really do. I'm going to be honest with you. I hope it's a nail biter, but I hope that you guys are biting the rest of your nails off, and we still have some nails left so we can get into Game 7. Either way, it's going to be great. Adam says, I watched SOA, Sons of Anarchy, like 1,000 times. Great show. Jax Teller, the man. 100%, man. 100%. That show will go down as one of the best shows in history. FX has some fantastic shows. And again, I am a huge Sons of Anarchy guy. I'm actually going to watch it all over again. My man Harry checking in on YouTube. My man Harry went to YouTube. He went from Facebook to YouTube. My man Harry says, not quitting on them yet. They got us this far. 100%. We're not quitting on them yet, boys. We are not, boys and girls. We are here. We are still going to ride with our boys 100%. Can you reach out to me on Instagram, Tony? Absolutely. When I get off, I will find you. Are you right there on IG? I'm guessing you're under the same name, Greg. If you're under the same name, I'll 100% get to you when we're done. Jeff, my man, check it out. Pound it out, bro. 100% pound it out. Jeff says, I had a nice one, but needed Hurts to run for 50 and score on it. Jeff is like hitting the FanDuel SGPs all day, man. All day. Yo, my man Bowflex checking in. My man Bowflex. Get ready, bro. You might see me on Monday. Just throwing it out there. I finally got to get out of this chair and do something productive. So he says, hey, T, I think Castellanos is due. He's going to produce in Game 6, and Pena looks to be an eventual Hall of Fame shortstop. He is incredibly impressive, and I'm not liking it. Listen, you know this is my man Bowflex when he uses phrases like incredibly impressive. Steve, I 100% agree. I hate to say it because it's the Houston Astros, but when we can be biased, whether we're fans or analysts or reporters or journalists. The best thing is you need to be biased. That's how you become a sports, a connoisseur, so to speak. Okay, and I watched a couple plays from my man Jeremy Pena. There's a reason why he was the NLCS MVP as a rookie. There's a reason why this dude's going to have a Hall of Fame career. And what I loved about him is he didn't take that Manny Machado route. They got him in the dugout. First thing he did was say, hey, that's a great team over there. Okay, so again, all in all, I am very excited. Obviously after the World Series, just as a baseball guy, because I love baseball, to be able to see him evolve into what exactly we're talking about, Flex. I completely agree. Harry says, do you think the moment could have been too big for them? No, I don't. What I do think, though, is you have the tale of two teams, right? We have the tale of the Houston Astros, who are built for this moment. Honestly, they are, in the sense that they have the guys that are built for this moment, right? They have a guy in Altuve who's been there. They have a guy in Verlander who's been there, right? They have these guys that are battle tested that have been there. The Dusty Baker, Hall of Fame man. You say what you want. You may not like him. You may not like the toothpick and all. Hall of Fame manager, in my opinion. Dusty Baker, been there. battle tested, right? So you're seeing that right now against us as a team that isn't battle tested. A lot of these guys, it's their first, right? Gene Segura, their first. I don't think, the moment is too big for them, but I think they just weren't built for this in the sense of just as stamina, right? I mean, you come in, listen, you know what, Harry, honestly, you know this. We come in every year and you never say, oh, we're gonna come in this year and we're gonna lose. Nobody ever says that, right? You all have that pinnacle goal of reaching a championship. But there's certain things, right? When you look at the pitching staff and Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler, they both, Aaron Nola pitched a ton of innings. Do you think he was thinking about going to the World Series? Do you think Zach Wheeler, when he came off the injury list with the bum shoulder, okay, and didn't go to AAA, came right into the rotation, do you think he was worried about getting more time to eventually, preserve himself for a World Series? Probably not. Honestly, let's be honest, probably not, because they were at a time where they weren't sure they were even going to get to the playoffs, let alone to a World Series. So, the Astros, they knew right off the bat, they 100% knew that they were built for that moment. They had the pitching staff 100%. They don't have to throw bullpen games, okay, in Houston. So, no, I don't think that the moment was too big for them. I just think that they may not have been prepared in the sense that, physically, because their expectations weren't set to that bar, if that makes any sense. Thomas says it's going to be another close battle Saturday. My father will be at the game. That's awesome, man. Listen, dude, I love talking about family moments, man. I love it. Me and my dad, we're at 93 game 3. Our game 1 in the 93 World Series, the Philadelphia Phillies, Toronto Blue Jays, where Kim Batiste made a throwing error at third base and then came up and won the game. And it's one of those moments I'll never forget, just me and my dad hanging out on third base side, 100%. Will says, you are about to experience game 6 in Minute Maid for the win. You thought Philly was layout? I'm going to, listen, Willis, I'm going to battle you on that because I saw a lot of fraudulent fans in Minute Maid Park. Okay. I saw a lot of fraudulent fans in Minute Maid Park. People weren't even swinging the rally towels. I don't think it was loud. People were on their phone. People were reading books. I hope you're right. I'll give you respect if you're right. But goddamn, bro, those fans better be ready to make some noise because I want all about it, man. I want all Orange Crush in Minute Maid. We shall see. Al says, don't start that shit about Nick. He isn't the reason why we lost this game. We lost as a team. Al, I completely agree. It was a team effort loss for sure. Look, Nick drew an important walk, hit a ball hard that got robbed. Exactly. It's as simple as that. I completely agree. Wheeler, I think, will deal in game 6. Rich said JT had a ball 4 feet that would have changed the game and that last at bat, just like in the other game where, again, in game 2, where my main Gene Segura was 2 feet away in Minute Maid Park from taking the game with that home run, right? Willis says, I call it now. Alvarez is going deep on Saturday. Listen, you want me to be fully transparent? You want to be fully transparent? I had a betting ticket tonight on Alvarez to go deep at plus 310 for a home run. He was my home run prop tonight. It was Alvarez. I thought, again, because he's due. You can't keep the big man down for long. He is due. Eventually, he is due, and he will hit it out of the park. I just said that hopefully there's nobody on base, right? Hopefully nobody's on base, and we can limit that load. 100%. Harrison's big. Yeah, Harry, that's just the way I feel. I mean, I definitely see your point, though. I do. Thomas says, talk about a family moment. Me and my dad were at sanctioned over when Jordan walked it off in game 1 of the ALDS. Huge. Thomas, you're never going to forget that, right? That moment will be ingrained in your head forever. I even remember what me and my dad were wearing that day. I remember what we ate that day. Like, that is one of my all-time favorite moments ever. So yeah, I'm a huge family guy when it comes to that, and that's a big deal to me. That's good for you, man. I love it. Willis is having Pena was the reason we said adios to Carlos Correa. Yeah, Carlos Correa goes to Minnesota, gets a nice money deal. Probably not the money everybody expected. Still get a nice money deal because again they get this. Again, this kid from the Dominican Republic who's just unbelievable in Jeremy Pena. It is a cool story, man. I'm going to be fully transparent. Rich says, stop the Astros. Fans are quiet. No way near the Philly fans. Sorry, that's a win for us. I got to agree with my man, Rich. I don't think there's any fan base right now that is louder than Philadelphia. I'm sorry. I completely agree. Times when I go to games, we're pretty loud, not as loud as Philly fans though. You can hear the Philly fans coming through the screen. Okay, I've heard. Listen, Houston, maybe they get up differently for Game 6 and Game 7. I'm not sure, but what I heard in the first half of the World Series from them, it wasn't cutting it to me. It wasn't cutting it for me. But let's do this because we're gonna ride this on out of here a little bit. I know everybody's got people have work tomorrow. We don't want to keep going. I mean, the energy's been great. It's been electric. It's been fantastic. Again, make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Make sure you're liking. Make sure you're commenting. Comment away, 100%. But what I will say is, like, I was asked for expectations, but again, we kind of got them. Everybody's telling me what they feel is going to happen tomorrow night, Saturday night. Obviously, actually, well, it is tomorrow night because this is Friday. So we can say tomorrow night, right? So I still think that, we're a resilient team and we're going to have enough juice to go into Houston and be very competitive in Game 6 and possibly get over the hump. It would be Game 7 and I'd be worried about. Tom, they have a huge farm system that I'm very, very envious of, 100%. Ours is getting there, but definitely not as good as the Astros. When you get guys from 20 to 24 that are going to be your pieces for the next 5 to 6 years, you definitely have done something special. Rich says, great show. Thanks, buddy. As always, you help it make it great. Everybody checking in helps make it great. I am blessed for that. Don't forget, that's right, Philadelphia Union MLS Cup Championship live on Saturday, starting at 3:30. I think the first tip is 4:00. So MLS Championship getting real right here when we talk about Philadelphia. But as always, man, my man Harry, see you Saturday. Absolutely, man. I am blessed. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, as always. I mean, we are at the pinnacle of these things, and I just want to let you know that what my plan is going forward real fast. Again, when, this is very taxing on me, but I love it. So for me to sit here and tell you I'm going to do Sixers post games all the time, or Eagles post games, I think we're going to bank on Eagles post games. Again, my man Flex, have a great night. Go Phillies. Flex, thank you for checking in, brother. I will see you Monday. I think that we're going to do more Eagles post games. And again, what I want everybody to understand in the community here is it just doesn't have to be Eagles. I will do Eagles post game, but it will be more like a NFL post game. Okay. We will talk about other NFL teams and things that have happened that day. I do want to do that. I will add in the occasional Sixers post game and right on point. No porn tonight from Doc. Rich says he must be trying to figure out the line. Yeah, he's trying to figure out how he loses again. Again, that's what he's trying to do. How are we going to lose more games now that we don't have James Harden? Eventually, the porn will start, and Doc is really, he's going to get up for that. That's for damn sure. So make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're liking the page. I greatly appreciate it. Don't forget at Heat Ratio Sports as well for national and local content. A lot of great people over there. We do some awesome things. Win Daily Sports, as always, check them out for sports betting and DFS and fantasy sports. And as always, you see it right there, SEObrand.com, the fine sponsor of this show. As always, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy, like I always say, and always remember, some people have thoughts and some people have takes. But on this show, right here, you get the final judgment.